Okay, we're back with the third devlog, and now we're going to do some unit selection. So you can, with your mouse, drag a square around a couple of units and they should be marked as selected. So we then can move these by clicking somewhere on the ground. So we're going to start by doing that. And I have outlined some items I want to try to get done for this one. So we're going to start by creating a unit selector node and handle the mouse input, and we're going to add a threshold. So if you click and drag for more than 10, then we'll decide that that's not a click, that's a drag and select. Draw the selection rectangle around the objects and then select all the components that intersect with this. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing we're gonna do is open Godot and add a unit selector node. This is standard node 2D. I'm gonna call that unit selector. We'll attach a script, also named unit selector. This doesn't exist yet. This is what we're about to go and code. There we go. And the reason we see all these arrows here is because this script isn't created yet. Okay, so now we're gonna go and code this up. Okay, so let's start by adding a new module, unit selector. And we're going to create this now. And let's use our crates GD prelude so we don't have to import all of that stuff. And we need to add a couple of things from GD native. We need a node 2D, we need a vector 2, an input event mouse. And I think that's it. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take the input event and try to cast that to an input event mouse. And if that works, then we know we have a mouse event. So then we can handle that in a separate function. So let's create a class called unit selector. I mean, I say a class, but it's a struct, right? And we don't need any physics process. We don't need that. We don't need the ready function. And we do need the init function. You have to have the init function, and we need the unhandled input because that's where we will be handling the actual input. So let's save that and see if that builds. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. So let's copy this and add the unit selector in here. There we go, and we're done with that. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to code up the mouse selection now. So let's create our own function for handling the mouse input. We probably need the owner, and we need the event, which is now an input mouse event. No, it's an input event mouse. There we go. And to get to this actual function, we need to do a check here. There we go. So now we're done with that. And let's see. So we are, well, okay. Right, I forgot to pass the owner. There we go. Okay, so we are going to check the state of the mouse, which means we need to track that somehow. So let's do an enum mouse up if the mouse is not pressed, down if it's pressed, and we'll track where it was pressed, and then finally drag. So this is tracking the square that we're not dragging. And we're gonna add this to our unit selector, and we can initialize this with up. We can assume that it's up. And what we need to do next is we need to find out whether the mouse button is down. So the event.get input mask. No, get button mask. I think that's it. Let's check that. Yes, that's it. Okay, so this will get the button mask, and now we need to check if that is. We need to check if that is something. Let's look in GD native. Global constants. Okay, so we need something called global constants. I was not done here. Global constants. So what's in global constants? Oh, okay, there's a lot of stuff in there. There's a ton of things in global constants. Let me just bring this across and put it up here. Okay, so these are all the things that are in global constants, right? They are button wheel right and so on and so forth, right? And we are looking for mouse. No, we're looking for button 1, 1, 1. I thought we were looking for button 1. Can we see what mouse buttons? What's that called? Button. Is it down maybe? Okay, let's go and find out from the actual Godot documentation. We've got a key list. That's not it. Global constants. Global input event mouse. That's the one I want to look at. Let's bring that across here. So here we go. Button mask, right? And that's a button list. And button left is what we're looking for. All right. So complete brain fail there. And so that's the mask, and then we do global constants button left. So if that is button left is 1, so we could have replaced this with a 1 if we wanted to. Okay, so let's see then. So okay, so now we know whether the button is down or not, so we can match on that. And let's see, so we got to come up with a couple of things here. If the button is down and you move it more than X units on either the Y or the X axis, then we're going to assume that you're dragging, right? So we need to have a threshold for that. We put it to 10, and then we need a function to compare the start drag position with the current mouse position. So is dragging. And let's combine these two. So we say let diff equals start minus current, and get the absolute value of that. So we don't care whether it's minus or a negative number or a positive number. If we call abs, it'll become a positive number. So whether it's minus 10 or plus 10, we don't care, right? So then we say if diff.x is bigger than or equal to the threshold, or y is bigger than or equal to the threshold. Okay, and that's not an if statement, we'll never return that. Okay, so if it is, then we're assumed to be dragging. Okay, so let's see what we got here then. So if it is down, then do something. If it's up, then do something else. Okay, if it's up, then we match self.mouse. And if it's up and the mouse is up, then we do nothing, right? If the mouse is down, then this is effectively a click. So you've clicked, okay. Let's note that, and then we need to say that the mouse is up. We need to reset the state, and if it's dragging, start end. Still need to set that to up, and then here we need to handle drag. Okay, and then if it is true, if it's already down, and well, if it's now down and the mouse is up, then the current mouse is down. And we need a position here. So we need to call owner.get canvas pos. I think extras, node extensions, node 2D in here. Canvas mouse position. Yeah, okay, so it does this, okay? It converts the node 2D to canvas item and then get the global mouse position. I'm doing this because I had some problems with just the get global position and the likes, and I didn't quite get that to work. So I wrote that this function here, this utility function, so it will get where the mouse is on the canvas, right? Because we're doing this to draw on the canvas, right? So let's see. So we get let plus equals get canvas position. There we go. And then we can say that's the start position, and then we don't need that. If the mouse is down, now we need to check if it's dragging with the start and the current, and if it is, then we need to set the state to mouse drag, and it starts there, and its current position is pause. That says not, it doesn't say pause. And if the mouse is drag, then we can ignore the start and we take a mutable reference to the end, and we say that the end is the current pos. Okay, right, and then this complained about something. Okay, canvas pos. What did I call that? Yeah, canvas mouse pos. Okay, canvas mouse pos. There we go. Okay, wow, that's a lot of problems in there. All right, well that makes perfect sense. Because that's not mutable, and that means that this guy needs to be mutable. And let's see what these warnings are. Unused variable start. Okay, so we're gonna handle click events. We can let a click event select a single unit. So we're gonna come back and handle that. And here, if we are doing that, we need to use the start and the end to create the actual bounding box that we select them in. So we need that. And okay, let's get rid of these things. Let's see what's next to do in this here plan. Create unit selector, handle mouse input, check drag. So we've done all of these things. Okay. So the next thing is going to be draw the selection rectangle. Okay, so now we're going to implement the actual draw function, so we can draw. And I found the documentation here for drawing a rectangle. So we need to pass in some values here. So we can say owner.drawRect. And let's see what we're going to have here. So we'll have a color. Let's do a green rectangle. That means we need to add color here. And what else do we have? We have whether it's filled. Let me remove the highlight. Filled. We don't want to fill it. Width is going to be something, and let's not make it anti-aliased. Okay, so let's add all these things to color, filled, width, and anti-aliased. Okay, grand. And okay, now I need to figure out what the width is here. Well, we're missing something. We're missing a rectangle. Width is probably the line width. So if we, let's go and check the docs for this. Let's see. Draw rectangle. Okay, that was optimistic. Optimistic canvas item. What about that? Canvas item. Draw rectangle. Okay, so here we go. Filled, true by default. Float with one. Draw is filled. It's true. Stroke with the column width. Okay, yeah, so that's the line, the stroke width that we're doing. So it's not the width of the actual, I mean, it wouldn't make any sense to just have one dimension. So let's say that that's 2, or we can start with 1. And now we need to have the actual rectangle. And that's a rect2, which we have here. So we have an end, size, and a position. Huh. I would thought it'd be a start and an end, like 2 points, right? That's a. Okay, but that's not a problem. That's not a problem. So we're gonna do a rect2. Light, okay, and then we do a new origin and size. Okay, right, of course. So okay, right, so the origin is the center point and the size is then the defines. So if you wanted to go from the middle to out and to the right and to the left, you'd have the point at 0 and the width would be 4, right? So let's do this. Let's start by creating a rectangle, which we don't have here, so we need to add that. Rect2. And then the start position would be, let's see, can we do the, oh right, you know what? We need this. There we go. So now, whoop. Now we can start off by saying that the start to point, is it 2 point maybe? So that's a start point. And then the width would then be start, it would be the end minus the start to size. So the end minus start to size. Okay, and then we need to pass this in. I think this is okay. It's unsafe, so let's do the unsafe thing then. And okay, only needs to be mutable, and that's that. Okay, and then we have start and end. That needs to, okay, so this is just handling that. Okay, so if it's true, while we're doing the dragging, we also need to we also need to we need to update this. So we need to call owner.update. I bet you that's unsafe. Of course it is. There we go. Okay, and then owner needs to be mutable. And that's great. So we have one warning left. So we're gonna do this for now. Okay, that's fine. We're gonna leave those warnings back in there because we want to be sure that it's it gets handled. Okay, so we call update if you're dragging. Okay, so the next thing to do now is go over to Godot and check this out. Okay, here we go. And here's our rectangle window. We should probably stop this from moving. Okay, so the rectangle doesn't disappear when I let go, so we should probably fix that. So we should call update on mouse up as well, if it is dragging. Let's see how big that is. Okay, it's about that. Yeah, that should be okay. Okay, so right, let's do that then. Okay, so we're gonna call update on mouse up here. So that means it should stop drawing it when we do that. So let's just quickly run this. Yeah, so that's fine. The threshold feels a little bit off. Let's change that to something, oh hello, something smaller. Let's change it to 4 maybe. Clicking and dragging. Yeah, okay, that's pretty good. Right, we're gonna make those guys stop moving as well. Okay, so let's have a look at our things to do, and that is draw the selection. Okay, so next thing we're gonna do is we're going to make the components selected, the ones that are within the rectangle, and then deselect everything that isn't. Okay, so let's do that now. Right, and let's see, where's our cursor? There we go. So now we need to select and deselect all the units. So let's add a function for that. Select units. And we have a start and an end. And if the mouse is no longer down, then that means okay, all right, and then select is not a real word. So select units. Okay, so let's see, if it's down, let's click. If it's up and it was dragging, then we do this. Okay, so after select units, start, and now that's warning's gone. And the first thing we need to do is let's deselect everything. So let's use our create game with world. Okay, so we're going to use with world. We're going to use this to select all the units that are marked as selected. So let's make a query for that. So selected query is we need player. Read player, and actually that's all we need really. We just need the player. Query, and now we can filter with a tag of selected. Okay, so that's a bunch of things we don't have. So let's add the tag selector and the player. Let's see, use create player, and what's that? Maybe we never made a tag for selected. Okay, so since the player is the only thing that's going to be selected, we're going to put the tag. This is a system, so we make one for tags, and that one doesn't have anything. And I think tags needs a partial equal. Okay, that's great. So we've got player and selector. I wonder if selector should live in here instead, because this is the only thing that's in charge of. So, well, maybe not. Okay, we'll come back to that. It's not a big issue. Okay, so this will give us a query over all the players that have been marked selected, but we are interested in modifying the entity, not the actual components, right? So we need to look at each entity and remove the tag. So how do we do that? Hang on, I gotta look this up. So we can selected query, iter entities. Let's see. Okay, can't find okay, no, of course not. So use Legion, prelude, and then everything. And right, yeah, that makes sense. We don't need that. And we're not using the start and end yet. No, that's fine. So we iter through the entities, and then let's see, what do we need to do? And then we need to, well, these are entities. Let entities equals that, and then we say entities.iter for each entity. Can we do this? Is this okay? No iter on that. Okay, into iter. No, collect. And it needs a type, so we're collecting to a vector. Okay, that's fine. And then for each entity we need to call world dot remove tag, pass in the entity and the tag name. Okay, that's the tag we want to remove. Spec entity found tuple. Entity cannot be dereferenced. Okay, so we need to get the entity. So let's look at this. What is our supposed entity here? We can find out by looking at the error message. Okay, so we have an entity and the player. Okay, so we have entities and the components. Okay, well that's cool. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so well, let's just return that guy then. Yeah, there we go. Right, and then we don't need that, and we don't need that, and let Rust tidy up the code. So okay, so the first thing we do here is we remove all selected tags. The next thing we need to do is we need to select entities, and then we need to get all the entities. You know what, we don't need to store that as a variable, we can just do that. Is equal to that. Okay, do we need to, could we perhaps just get rid of that and then say iter dot for each entity no, we could not do that. Iter, okay, right. No. What about that? Can it be dereferenced? Right, okay, closure requires unique access to world, right, because we use world here and here. Okay, alright, you know what? Back out. There we go. Okay, well, it's working. Let's not fix it if it's working. Okay, so next thing we're gonna do is do the selected query, and now we need to get all the entities. We need to do that. That is not selected. Can we do that? Actually, that makes no sense. We just removed all of that. So we need to instead filter. Let's do iter world and then map. Okay, so we will take all the entities, all the player entities, and so we need to find everything. We can do a filter map, and then we'll take our selected query. Let's not call it selected query, let's call it entities. And then we will add the tag, and this time we're not specifying the tag by type, we are passing in the tag here, and that's because tags can have values, but when you remove a tag you don't need a value. Okay, is this cool? No method. Alright, okay, and then we need to collect to a vec again. Okay, apparently not. You know what? It's because I do iter and not iter entities. There we go. Okay, so now we just have to finish our filter function. Okay, so this will return the entity, but we're only interested in the entities that have a position that is within our selection up here, right? So let's see, let's figure out how to do that. So we need to get the position. Get position, and that's gonna be unsafe. And I'll say what now? Get position. Oh, right, of course, because that's the guy. The player, which is just wrapping a kinematic body to. You know what I can do? We can implement player, and let's make a function called position that returns a vector 2 and self.0 to get position. Unsafe. There we go, and don't need to unsafe anything, and we got vector 2 in there, so that's great. And that needs to be public. Okay, and then we can go back to our guy here and just call position. So now we need to now we need to find out if they are intersecting. So should we do some kind of selection for that? So we have the position, and let's do a function for that. Is it intersecting? Well, the point is intersecting with the point is a vector 2, and the point is intersecting with the rectangle. So let's see if there is anything. There's an intersect here already, but that doesn't see if a point is now. Of course, intersect will be two rectangles. Let's see if there's anything contains, and pass in a point 2D. So let's not do a function with that. We already have this. We have a rect2 here from our start and end, and let's see if we can see if the rect dot contains the position to point if it's true. It does indeed contain. If it's false, then none, and then nothing will come out of it. Okay, right. Well, that was optimistic. Incorrect delimiter. Okay, all right. Okay, maybe I should finish the actual match statement. There we go. All right, there we are. Okay, so unsafe block. No, we don't need the unsafe block. We just got rid of that. And what else? What's this complaining about? Unused result. Now we're gonna do GD and we just pass in the rest there. Let's GD extras. There we go. So if anything goes wrong, we can output an error, and then I'm guessing this is returning our result as well. It's well, whether it does or not. There we go. There we are. Okay, no warnings, no nothing. Everything is good. Except we have no way of knowing visually if the player has been selected or not, and the player keeps falling down. So let's stop that from happening. Let's stop the player from falling down, and the camera decided to turn off. Okay, so let's stop the player from falling down, and what else are we gonna do? Alright, that's what that is, a warning, and yeah, we're gonna highlight the player somehow. Okay, so right, let's get to that. Let's do that next. So let's make the player selectable visually. So we can do get the kinematic body and then set modulate with a color. RGB, let's make it red when it's selected. Yeah, why not? Well, that's not really how that works, is it? Let's see what that does. Okay, so let's do GD native color. Okay, and can we do that? Can't browse as mutable. There we go. Set modulate. That is not unsafe, so we can skip that. So mark select. Let's do a mark deselected as well, and I do think we want to use maybe an alpha channel as well. Let's have a look at what modulate does, because I'm not entirely sure if it changes the color or if it blends the color, whatever it does. Alright, so let's do search for modulate. I'm sure this is the right. Okay, well that did not tell me. Canvas item modulate. The color applies, or the color applied to texture on this canvas item. So these are inherently canvas items, right? So if this is the color applied to the texture, so that would mean that it's, so actually, let's do this then. Red, green, blue, 0.5, and then we do set all of these to white if it's deselected. Is this right? We'll see how this comes out, and we gotta stop the player moving. We've done that, and then we need to get back to our unit selector. Now when we deselect all the units, Remove all selected tags. Okay, that's when we do this. We could effectively call the mark selected in there, but that means that the player have to be writable, and that means, do you still call it entities? Alright, can I borrow E1 as mutable? There we go. Right, so it's quite intuitive. Okay, so that will mark it as selected, and then, well, that's exactly what we shouldn't do. We should mark it as deselected, and now we need to select them. So all of these, if it's true, then we can mark that guy as selected, and then we have the same conundrum here. We need to filter map, that is mutable. Is there a filter map? No, okay, filter map, there was not, it's not going to do it. Okay, what we can do is, okay, so what if we just filter then? So we filter all of these, and we don't do anything of that. If we then we can just return that, get rid of that, and then we can call map on that one, maybe. Or is it ether entities mute? Oh, you know what? I'm being a lemon. Okay, it's... Oh, hang on. I went a little bit too far there. That needs to be mutable. There we go. And then that needs to be mutable. And okay, that was not happy with that. Can I borrow data as mutable? Now why is that then? Why can we not do that? Okay. So look, so filter tag, it enters mutably. Okay, and then map. Mutable E1 mark selected. You know, that is baffling. Okay, why is that? Can I borrow? Can I read that? Can I borrow as mutable? Oh right, okay, right, okay. I'm sorry. That was no. Apparently, that was not it. That was not it. There we go. Okay, sorry for that little stumble, but we're going forward with this. Okay, right. So next thing, let's go and look at this in Godot. And if we select this guy, he's selected. Now he's deselected, so we should be able to select 2. Okay, all right, clicking should probably deselect as well. Let's go and fix that too. So where's our click? So we need to select units, and then let's do start and start. Okay, this is a bit stupid because that's not going to work. You know what? We're not going to do that now. We're gonna fix it. But there's another problem in this. There's another problem. If we run this again, you can see that if I select all these units, they're all selected, everything looks great. But if I select the top part or the bottom part, nothing happens because it's looking for the point, which is the center point of this guy. So if I do that, he's going to be selected. So we should probably sort that out. So I have to decide whether I want a partial selection or if you have to select the whole thing for it to be selected. So I'm gonna have to figure that out. But I'm gonna stop this for now, and next time I'm going to do partial selection. I'm going to fix this selection issue, and I'm going to do click to move. So you can select some of these guys, click somewhere, and they should move there. And eventually I will then run the animations as well. We'll see if we have time next time. Okay, thank you.